restaurateur. I am also a writer. I did a bit of broadcasting. And I'm immensely honoured to be here today. Normally when I'm asked to come and speak at food festivals, I do a demonstration. I prepare some kind of dish from my repertoire, and it's nice and light-hearted. However, when I was thinking about what a huge privilege it is to fly out here, especially to speak to you guys, and what was so unique about Spier and Spier's particular preoccupation with the ethical dimension of food, with questions of sustainability, and also with this notion that this is about kind of sharing secrets. I don't believe that cooking is a secret. I don't believe that if I was to share a recipe with you, that's like giving away a secret. Cooking is, it's a shared heritage, but it's about confidence and a bit of practice and a bit of taste, but it's not like a mystery. What I was more interested in doing is coming and using the intimacy and the direct connection of this opportunity to engage with a small group of yourself, to share certain questions I have. My slight anxieties as a professional cook, my slight anxieties and my slight discomfort with certain elements of what I do. But to begin, I was born in London in the mid-80s. And I say this because the mid-80s in the UK were a very specific time. Chronologically, they witnessed both the emergence of BSE, mad cow disease, which was the direct result of the worst elements of industrial farming practices, and our cynicism and abuse of the ecosystem around us, coming back to poison us. And also Chernobyl, which was the great nuclear disaster which propelled Europe, which saw the meltdown of Chernobyl, saw a radioactive cloud spread across northern Europe. The effect for me was growing up, I had a very restrictive diet. My mother, for most of my childhood, wouldn't let me eat meat. She was firmly of the opinion that if modern agriculture had poisoned the cows, it would surely poison every other animal too. And it wasn't safe to eat meat. And she was a girl who'd grown up on a farm. Also, for the first couple of years of my life, I wasn't allowed to eat anything that grew above ground. So already, from a very young age, this was because of the radioactive cloud that settled on the UK. Already from a very young age, my sense of food was kind of slightly about restriction, but also I had such a clear sense of identity, I had such a clear sense that we in our family ate differently from everyone else, and that this somehow defined who we were as a small unit. This leads me to come back to a principle that I think that we've kind of slightly lost, that I want to consider today, which is that food, or the idea of food culture, used to just be defined by what was around us. We were what we ate, in very simple terms. We were limited in developing a food culture simply by what surrounded us, whether that was defined by the seasons, or geography, or our native agriculture. But we had a very simple attitude towards food, because there wasn't a choice beyond that which was tradition. This has been completely inverted by a globalized food culture, and left us with the opportunity to invent new food cultures for ourselves. But with this opportunity for self-invention, I think there are various inherent risks. I opened my first restaurant when I was 24. It was a place called Brunswick House, and it started as a 10-seat coffee bar. And I've expanded it over the last 5 years into a large, it's now kind of 70-seat restaurant with a 50-seat bar. And that's really just been from turning up every day, cooking nice food for my guests, and just sitting and flourish with a lot of luck and goodwill from that I'm very lucky. But essentially my life hasn't changed that much. I still get up in the morning, I still spend my days sourcing my produce, writing the menu, and cooking. On the other hand, I have grown increasingly uncomfortable with the systems of agriculture which provide for restaurants. I no longer find value in the idea of buying from the big commercial markets in London, who are bringing onions by the pallet load and tropical fruit from all over the world. And I've now, going from a system where I buy from suppliers, I started buying direct from farmers. And then ultimately, I now have started to cultivate land myself near London, which I hope will one day supply for the vegetables I need for my restaurant. Which brings me to the question of sustainability. Now, if from my mother I learned that our diet gives us a strong sense of identity, from my father, who, as a young man, my parents were very young when I was born, they were in my 20s, my dad as a writer was prone to making the erotically moribund, although he is much more earthy Anglo-Saxon language, which I don't consider appropriate. Although he obviously did. As a writer, I think he took the poetic license for swearing, for a fact. But while I don't agree with this, while I think that there's a great vitality to food culture, I don't think it's a mark of middle age or complacency. Just suppose for 1 minute that there is kind of a slight element of truth, and that food is something that we do slowly grow into as we grow older to replace other more immediate physical preoccupations. And think about what this maybe implies that as a global culture, our increased fascination with food, and our belief that food is not just food, because we've become dismoored from our native food cultures, it's become a way for self-invention. What this implies for us, when we're talking about food, are we not talking about, basically? As a fetish, what does it exclude from the conversation? As a cook, I've reached this point where I've started to become almost quite uncomfortable with food culture. I've become, everyone goes through periods of their life when they question the validity of what they do, but as someone whose day-to-day existence involves feeding people, which is a wonderful and joyous thing, why am I slightly uncomfortable with our obsession, with our kind of obsession with food culture to the exclusion of everything else? And this is kind of slightly what I want to address and refute, because I don't want to start this series of talks to really down that. I've actually determined that there is a positive and optimistic response to this slight feeling of tension that I have. So what are we talking about when we're talking about food that we should otherwise be talking about? Well, I return to a quote from the great writer and cook Alice Walters, the woman who kind of really invigorated the idea of localism, of farm to table, of all the ideas which really define what I do as a cook and what I think gives my cooking value. And I want to share this quote with you because I think it's interesting. She says that eating is a political act, but in the way that the ancient Greeks used the word political, not just to mean having to do with voting in an election, but to mean of or pertaining to all our interactions with other people, from the family, to the school, to the neighborhood and the nation, and the world. Every single choice we make about food matters, at every level. The right choice saves the world. And this, I think there's a real sense of value in that. And I think it is what drives forward my desire to work with food only in a sustainable way. And sustainable agricultural practices is so important as a result. My first interaction with food being one that our agriculture has poisoned the world around us, and can therefore poison ourselves, is refuted by the idea that actually we can engage and support and push forward much more coherent, organic and biodynamic and holistic forms of agriculture. On the other hand, and this is my kind of side problem with the Alice Walters system, is that sufficient? Is our engagement with sustainable food practices enough? I don't believe it is necessary. I don't think that just buying local, just buying seasonal food is enough. And I don't think necessarily, one of my discomforts is sustainability sustainable? Is in an ever-expanding global population, are the kind of forms of agriculture, the kind of small-scale polycultural practices, which I'm so interested in, which I think produce the most delicious vegetables, the most delicious produce, are they going to feed the world? Also, is this sufficient in terms of, as a person, as an individual, does my engagement in this compensate for not having a more kind of broader political direction or broader political engagement? Is this enough? I was sharing these concerns with the writer, the great novelist John Lanchester, who's a regular at my restaurant, and he writes a lot about food. And he was kind of saying, he was like, I agree with you. I often think if I was to go to heaven, hypothetically, and arrived there, and was standing before a jury of all the great figures through history who died for noble political causes, and was asked to justify my life. And all I'd be able to do is hold up my hands and shrug and go, well, I was all about seasonal and local. I think there is also an element of truth in that. So I come to my final point, which is that, yes, in the face of global impending ecological trauma and our responsibility to sustain ourselves as a race, it is important to consider our relationship with agriculture as totally fundamental to our ability to sustain ourselves as a race. Is this sufficient? No, I don't believe it is sufficient. I believe that we also need to be aggressively pursuing other ecological goals. Our energy consumption, our whole interaction with the world is not purely defined by what we eat. There's many other very, very important roles in that as well. However, what I finish on is what I think is the most important thing about food, is that despite all of this, and the joy I still get from cooking for people, comes from the fact that what food gives us is the opportunity to share in our humanity. It sustains our understanding of each other. It gives us the shared universal culture around which we can all gather and understand each other and share ideas. And I think this is what the most fundamentally important thing that we need to sustain about